Take it back to late spring 2016. Donald Trump on the stump looking certain to be the Republican nominee, but he had enemies. Opponents curious about Russia. By June, a former British spy had been enlisted to dig into Trump's Russian dealings. His sources had a lot to say. The spy was worried enough he went to the FBI in July. Keep digging was the response. He did. His dossier growing with reports of information exchanged between Russian intermediaries and the Trump team, several of his sources speaking to salacious evidence being held by Moscow. By October, word had spread the FBI knew something about Trump and Russia. Journalist David Korn of Mother Jones was the first to find the former spy.
I was not allowed to talk too much about, in my story, too much about his background and anything that would identify him. So it took a little convincing to get him to talk about this stuff.
The paper published the story just days before the election without outlining the allegations. It couldn't and still can't verify them. Neither can the CBC. The story didn't rattle many at the time.
My conclusion was
Americans were focused on the FBI surprise announcement it was still investigating Hillary Clinton's emails. But in the intelligence community, there was talk. At a security conference in Nova Scotia in late November, Senator John McCain was approached by a Western diplomat who'd seen the dossier, thought the reports of Trump's Russian entanglements deserved attention. McCain made a snap decision, sent an emissary to London to meet the spy.
It was somewhat old school. The source was waiting there at the airport with a copy of Financial Times under his arm, and they found each other, and it was a 24-hour trip. He went out there, met the guy, reviewed the documents, talked to him, got a sense of who he was, and went back and talked to McCain.
Within a day or two, Senator McCain had seen the dossier.
I did what any citizen should do. I received sensitive information, and then I handed it over to the proper agency of government.
December 9th, McCain gave the file to the FBI, says he didn't know the agency already had it. It would be weeks before American security agencies decided to share with the president and the president-elect. And now that they know, what on earth to make of these documents? The former Canadian intelligence officer who spent a decade on the Soviet desk doing counterintelligence says the allegations in the documents surely look like classic tactics. He sees some errors, some oddities, but says this has the feel of the real thing.
If it is a fake story, it was made by somebody who knows the game. If it is a true story, it is very, very close to what we've seen before.
It's all fake news. It's phony stuff. It didn't happen.
Could the allegations be false, made up by Russia's spy agency? Possibly, and possibly false for a reason.
It is also possible that the whole thing is, a FSB dirty trick, bait the line with some interesting, maybe partly true information, but put a lot of it misinformation there, wait for it to get out, and then discredit the news organizations, the law enforcement intelligence organization that may take it seriously, and then you further undermine institutions in the US. I wouldn't rule that out as a possibility.
And what if what's in these pages is true? Does that make this just trouble or treason? Without actual evidence, these are answers we may never get. Adrienne Arsenault, CBC News, Toronto.